Thank you. Hey, thanks, man. It's Andrew, right? Yeah. Cool. What? Yeah, I know. It's pretty hectic.
Thank you and good afternoon. Welcome to E3, probably the single best moment in the history of the interactive entertainment business. The running time for our event this afternoon will be approximately 45 minutes, and during that time, we want to speak about what a great time it is for the industry, the best products ever, record revenues, great prospects ahead. We want to talk about Nintendo's prospects within that as we enter the back half of this year. The single best game library that we have ever brought to market. Thirdly, as a corporation, we want to tell you we're so optimistic that we will retake total industry leadership in 1999. And then finally, I'll be joined by our chairman, Howard Lincoln, and his guests to talk about life after Nintendo 64. But amid the great news that we're faced, that we're all excited about as an industry, I want to start out by also acknowledging the heavy criticism that we're currently facing, again as an industry, on the content of certain of our games. I'd like to borrow from what President Clinton said on Monday when he said, it is a real time, a real need to put this whole thing in perspective. And the perspective is that as our industry has become so large, we indeed have become fair game for some of this criticism. We're now in over 40% of the homes in America. Over 60 million active systems are in play. They bought over 125 million pieces of software last year. Never before have the demos been as broad as they are today, with over half of the game players over the age of 18. What does that all mean? It means that we are mass market, we are part of the pop culture, and we are there because we are delivering games against a broader array of demands and needs than ever before. This is no longer a niche product, but with that, we have an obligation, and we as an individual company and we as an industry must accept that. We have a wonderful rating system and acknowledged worldwide gold standard in ratings that we must do a better job of communicating in packaging, in store, in any vehicle that we can do to ensure that the products that we bring to market are ending up in the hands for whom they were intended. And the industry, the world has Nintendo's commitment of our full-fledged support of that. Now on to the happy news, talking about the industry specifically, quoting my favorite source, TRIS. Today, independent sales data from TRIS NPD for the first quarter of the year shows that industry results are up 18% year-on-year sell-through in America. And we think the April results, when they come in later this week, will continue that. By year end, we expect that the total business will grow. That's the total hardware, software, and accessory retail values by between 12 and 14% to a number that will exceed $7 billion in the US alone. I'm happy to say that the story of Nintendo is even better than that, fueled by very strong N64 sales and absolutely phenomenal Game Boy sales, now exceeding year-ago performance by some 255% year-on-year. Our total company sell-through is up 31% versus total industry at 18%. Yes, that means we have started to grow share. For those in the industry, the good news is that the proportion of dollars being spent today by consumers on both accessories and software relative to hardware is reaching all-time highs. And that's again a reflection of more multiplayer play and even more compelling software being brought to the market. With tie ratios of 7-to-1 on software, and accessory tie ratios of over 2.5, in fact now 2.6-to-1. These are new high levels, again endorsing the fact that this is not niche play, this is a full-blown social experience. The industry, of course, is continuing to be driven by current technology. While we all spend a lot of time on headlines of Next technology, the business today is still 80% 3264-bit. Well, the handheld category, or should I call it the Game Boy category, is now 15% of the total industry, up from only 9% 1 year ago. The next gen, the 3264-bit category, we believe is approximately 2/3 of the way through its life cycle. We believe that there's another 15 million hardware systems to be sold in America, and another 150 million games, totaling another 7.5 billion that will be realized in the balance of 1999 and the year 2000. And of course, as always, what's going to fuel that growth are the great new game experiences. And we've got more in our hopper here at Nintendo this year than ever before. Those are the second and third generation Nintendo 64 games, enhanced with the expansion pack, and the library also for Game Boy and N64, both just jammed with a wide array of products for every audience. Both of those libraries will grow by some 50 titles, bringing in the N64 group at year-end at about 175, and Game Boy will have 50 plus color-specific titles, adding to the over 400 already in the library. So again, something for everyone, wider age demographics, there'll be more female involvement. And now I just want to take a few moments to highlight just a couple of the 100 games that you're going to see unveiled by first, second, and third party over the next couple of days. First and foremost, of course, the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the first video game based on the current global entertainment craze, the movie that will preview and in fact premiere around the country in 1 week today. For those of you lucky enough to have already seen the film, you're going to agree with me when you hear that probably the single most exciting sequence is the 10-minute pod race featuring young Anakin Skywalker. And our N64 game based on that race expands by adding characters and locations that were designed by the LucasArts team, but not included in the movie. And so the only place you're going to be able to really play out that fantasy is right here. So have a look at this quick video on Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Every great game has its inspiration. Every great race has its rules. Every great pod racer must be crafted by hand.
Welcome to Water Shop. Who can
Every great course must challenge the Jedi within us. And every great race must be run.
just a great game, shipping, as it said, 5 days from now, May the 17th. The game and the limited edition hardware system, which will include the software title. We expect to sell 1.5 million games in the first 6 weeks of this product's existence, and 500,000 hardware systems, backed with a marketing budget of just over $10 million. America's going to need seatbelts in every family room to play this one. There's no doubt that the next big star of Star Wars, after Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, of course, is the next new Anakin Skywalker. And I'm pleased to tell you that we have him with us here today. From Southern California, 10-year-old Jake Lloyd. Please join me in welcoming him. Jake. Saw me was in a t-shirt. You look real nice too. And you know, we're only a week away from that movie launch, and you've been a real busy young guy. What have you been up to?
I did 104 interviews while I was in New York, and I was 60 in one day. And I'm sure a lot of you guys in this room were there.
Media's murder, aren't they? But they did give you a little chance to do a few other things.
Yeah, they let me do a lot.
Yeah, I understand that a week ago you were able to get a little time and go over to the Star Wars conference in Denver.
Yeah, that was really fun. I got to go out there with Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO, and he's like, well, never work with Ewoks or children. So I walked out there, never built a golden droid named C-3PO.
There you go. That's great. Someone also told me, though, Jake, that you've been finding a little time to decide to try out the new racer game. What do you think about it?
It's really fun, you know. It's a really fun game. It's faster than most of the regular games, regular car games, because, you know, it's pod racing, 2 engines. It's really fun.
That's great. And how do you think that N64 game compares with the experience in the movie?
Well, on the set, as much moving as I did was nothing. I sat in a pod and pretended to race with Sebulba, but this time I actually get to race with him.
Well, that's just great. We're all excited to see that movie in its entirety just a week from now. And we just want to thank you so much for joining with us today and giving us those insights. Jake Lloyd, thank you so much. 1 year ago at this event, a fine gentleman who's sitting out there today, again, Mr. Miyamoto, took center stage with us as we talked about Zelda games and what a phenomenal achievement that product went on to be. Well, this year, our premier partners at Rare happen to be the center of attention, and while they're not going to join me on stage, they are going to be the center of activity with 3 great new games coming out for the second half of this season. And the first one is an outer space adventure that's described as fast and furious. And when you fight your way through fully 3-dimensional interstellar worlds, you're going to be faced with more animation and more color than has ever been seen on an N64 product. So take a look at this brief insight of the game you're going to get your hands on.
several vehicles. Battle.
Gemini, August 30th. This is going to be a powerful property. Since the introduction of Nintendo 64, let me just roll back here a half a moment. I jumped ahead of myself. I'll get to that in a second. I now want to talk about a product that you're all very familiar with, namely GoldenEye, the longest running 4-player hit in the home console history with over 30 months of consecutive chart-leading performance, and it is still right up there in the top 5. People talk about short life cycles. This is prime evidence of a powerful product having long legs. And even before GoldenEye came out, the team that designed it was begging to do a sequel. They wanted to improve upon the worlds and all aspects of that game, and that's exactly what they've done with a product called Perfect Dark that will be out in December from Rare. You play the role of a heroine called Joanna Dark, who's out to uncover the nefarious deeds of the Datadyne Corporation. And if you thought GoldenEye was something, wait till you get your hands on this one on the show floor starting tomorrow. Moving on to where I was a half a moment ago, since the introduction of N64, one of the consistent questions that have been on our phone systems and write-in programs day after day, week after week was, hey folks, where is Donkey Kong? Well, I'm happy to announce that Donkey Kong 64 does arrive this season on November the 22nd in his first fully three-dimensional adventure. As popular as Zelda was 1 year ago, I'm sorry, Mr. Miyamoto, but we think it's because we also have more hardware systems involved this year. Donkey Kong 64 is going to shatter that record-setting performance that we achieved last year. It'll be backed with a marketing budget of over $12 million. It's going to be out merchandised, out pre-sold, out advertised, anything that we have ever done before. We expect that we will sell through in excess of 2.5 million pieces of this title on the holiday season next year. And take a look at why I'm so optimistic about that.
Relax. Unwind a little. Stretch it out. Or just hang loose. Because the brand new three-dimensional world of Donkey Kong 64 is a calm, soothing, familiar place. You better hang on, because Donkey Kong 64 is going to be the holiday smash of the century. This is one gorilla who's bigger and badder than ever. And he's living in a gigantic new world of 3 dimensions, whose boundaries have been expanded by the sheer power of the expansion pack and Dolby surround sound. This is one big gorilla of a game, the awesome memory power of the expansion pack blows away all boundaries and opens the doorway to dozens of gigantic and detailed new worlds. This is the genius of Rare at work, discovering and delivering the true potential of N64 as it was meant to be. Here you'll find old friends like Donkey and Diddy, as well as new friends with some astounding and endearing new qualities. And in this challenging world, you'll need all the help they can give you. There's plenty of just plain fun, too, with a raft of games within the game. There are more engaging play opportunities here than a barrel of, well, you know. Donkey Kong 64 is a juggernaut. An epic-sized action-adventure with the single biggest launch budget in history. Get ready to watch pre-sale records tumble. This is one holiday monster with a future even bigger than Zelda.
Bigger than me?
That's right, we said bigger than Zelda. A word to the wise. You better get ready to feed the frenzy. Donkey Kong 64. A century never ended so large.
This is a gamer's delight and a marketer's dream. This is going to be the property of the holiday season this year. So while Donkey Kong is a game phenomenon, there's one system phenomenon in the history of our industry that, like Donkey Kong, kind of supersedes all other, and of course, that's none other than Game Boy. Number one, and 11 years old, new Game Boy Color systems, which came in last holiday season, are leading our plans this year to sell over 6 million pieces of hardware in the U.S. in this 12-month calendar, and that in contrast to 3.8 million last year. Over the last 8 to 10 weeks, Game Boy has been selling in the U.S. at the rate of 100,000 pieces a week, the kind of sales levels that we have only seen historically at holiday time, meaning that an 11-year-old Game Boy, that good old 8-bit processor, is going to do more in 1 month than what Dreamcast is estimated to do in the balance of this year. I couldn't resist. It's going to be further boosted by the first full-color game starting with Mario Deluxe, which launches next week, along with Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, Mickey's Racing, The Smurfs Nightmare, and more, including an edition of Star Wars Episode 1 that will be launched in October. In all, as I said at the top, we're going to have some 50 first and third-party dedicated color titles by the holiday this year. To there's no question that Game Boy Color's phenomenal results are also being fueled, in addition to those nice housings and that new processor, by one huge game phenomenon, and of course I'm referring to none other than Pokémon. Pokemon has become a cultural phenomenon in its own right, becoming in fact the hula hoop of the 1990s. And it's succeeding because it levels the playing fields for players of all kinds, kids, teens, boys, girls, all abilities are having fun with Pokemon. It happens to be also one of the best intro-level games for the younger players because it's also providing adventure and RPG and some basic instincts about collecting and trading. But the craze is only beginning because not only will red and blue Pokemon continue to set the world on fire through the balance of the year, we will be launching for Game Boy Pinball coming on June the 28th and Pokemon Yellow on September the 6th. And then we will also be adding Pokemon to the N64 platform with Pokemon Snap coming July the 26th and Pokemon Stadium in October. The Pokemon Snap phenomenon is going to be backed with an unusual twist because in this game, the player is set out with the task of finding as many monsters as he or she can as they tour those worlds. They then capture those images of monsters they've found digitally within the cartridge, and they then will take that cartridge down to one of the 4,500 participating Blockbuster stores in America, insert the cartridge, and have a postcard-sized printout take place with copies of the monsters that they found and peel-off stickers. This is going to be the hottest thing in Kingdom, certainly through the summer and on into the fall. The craze will be backed also with continuing heavy levels of advertising and promotion. Warner Brothers, as you know, who've currently got the television show appearing once a week, will go to 6 times a week starting at the end of summer. We're also going to see the Pokemon feature-length movie in time for this year's holiday season. And more importantly, the games are really going to keep this thing alive and well. And just recently, we exposed these 4 new products to a collection of Pokemon fans. So take a look at this Pokementary.
That's about This is Blastoise, the evolved form of Wartortle that's the evolved form of Squirtle.
All the kids where I live play it.
So they call me Pokemon Freak. We have like the Pokemon Master diplomas.
They're really into it.
Because we went to the Pokemon class.
Squirtle, Mewtwo,
Ditto.
Raichu. If you play the Game Boy and you play cards and you see the TV show, it's really neat because you have different views of the game.
He can learn Earthquake, he can learn Surf,
Fighting is really fun.
and he learns Water Gun when he's a Squirtle.
Your attack is higher than defense, speed, agility.
You have a link cable, you can link up, and then you guys gotta battle each other on the game.
You can fight or trade. It's a good way to collect 150 with your friends. Most I've caught is about 50.
35.
62, 144, 103 to go.
I've got all of them.
I just love playing. It's just a fun thing to do.
I challenge you to a battle! Raichu!
Here we go.
Pokemon Yellow is really fun.
That's totally different. It's a lot better than the blue and red. These are the characters, they have new poses. Catch 'em when you run into them.
Red and blue, the guys stay in the Pokeball and it's just you walking around. But in Yellow version,
The Pokemon is out of the Pokeball, so you can interact with the Pokemon.
and you can turn around and talk to him and he does these facial expressions.
Perfect. Catch it. He'll be happy to do the little peace sign. And
Just go and we can ball and connect the cable.
we need a cable. Let's get him back. He's dead. This time we're going to catch the pigeon. We caught one. We just caught one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this time I really want yellow. Yes. As soon as it automatically buy it.
I just get side up in the head.
This rocks.
That's kind of crude.
Pokemon DS.
A challenge. I just love games that have the rumble pack. I just love it when it shakes like.
I like that you're catching Pokemon with the pinball theme.
Zaps the ball.
Oh, I like the part with Pikachu in there when he says Pikachu! Pikachu!
We got this jackpot.
Yeah, you got the jackpot!
Pinball is really cool. And we're like, wow.
Yeah! Yeah, always
Pokemon Snap.
Snap?
Snap. Snap.
I've been playing it, it's really fun. Pidgey!
You take pictures of certain Pokemon at different levels.
The Z button it zooms in, and the R button makes you go faster.
It's sort of like a nature show video
Whoa,
game.
look at that shiny Pikachu!
But it's a Pokemon. And then you push A, and that takes a picture of it.
Get that picture!
The more points you get, the more levels you can get.
And if you're lucky, you'll get a Charizard.
There he is. You can go to Blockbuster. They can print out your pictures. Got it. Oh, cool.
If you take good pictures, you can get good results.
And I'm glad they made it for N64.
Yes.
Capture it.
Totally cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
But
As most of you know, Pokémon has been an unbelievable success in Japan, where it's now in month 40 of its life. I'm happy to announce that being only in month 8 and having exceeded all the sales records that were established in Japan, the prospects for a long, long run for this property are indeed bright. In summary, these are just a couple of the over 100 titles that you're going to have a chance to see and feel and play starting tomorrow, first, second, and third-party titles. It's not only the best lineup in the industry, it's unquestionably the very best lineup in the industry of Nintendo. But we are aware that beyond December of 1999, people are looking ahead to what may be down the road and around the corner, and there is a lot of interest in next generation. We now want to spend just a couple of moments speaking about some announcements that were made last night in Japan, this morning in the U.S. And I'd now like to call upon our chairman, Howard Lincoln. Howard?
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, everyone. While Nintendo's focus clearly remains on the N64, we happen to believe that it has a number of years of profitable life remaining both for our retail partners and for our company. I want to take this opportunity to share with you some of Nintendo's plans for the future. Let me raise the curtain just a little bit on Nintendo's next home video game system, one that we are targeting for introduction, worldwide launch, at the end of year 2000. The code name for our next home video game system is Dolphin. That's not the name of the product, but I'll use it this afternoon when I refer to our new system. While Dolphin hardware will be extremely powerful, it will not be expensive. It will retail at a mass market price for home video game systems. And as you're about to see, Dolphin software will also be competitively priced at retail. Nintendo has been working on Dolphin for some time now. The graphics chip is being developed by Artex of Palo Alto, California. This company is headed up by Dr. Wei Yin, the man who was primarily responsible for the N64 graphics chip. Dr. Yin has assembled at Artex one of the best teams of 3D graphics engineers on the planet. And I want to emphasize this. We are absolutely confident that Dolphin's graphics will equal or exceed anything that our friends at Sony can come up with for PlayStation 2. Dr. Wei Yin is here this afternoon in the front row, and I'd like to ask him to stand up and be recognized. Wade? Of course, we need to power Dolphin with a CPU that's second to none. A CPU that is the most powerful processor of any current or planned home video game system. How about a 400 megahertz CPU? Well, that's precisely what we're going to use. And we call that chip the Gecko processor. I'm pleased to announce that Nintendo's partnered in the company that is now in the advanced stages of designing the Gecko processor, and which will manufacture this chip at its world-class manufacturing facility in Burlington, Vermont, is IBM. IBM and Nintendo have entered into a multi-year, $1 billion technology agreement under which IBM will manufacture the custom-designed 400 megahertz Gecko processor for Dolphin. Gecko is an extension of the IBM PowerPC architecture. The Gecko processor will feature IBM's unique industry-leading copper chip technology. Only IBM has the technology to manufacture chips using copper technology. Nobody else in the world does what IBM can do. And quite frankly, anything less is simply not state-of-the-art technology. By the way, you may have seen a recent article in the New York Times about how Sony and Toshiba plan to build a brand new factory to manufacture a chip with, quote, cutting-edge 0.18 micron technology. The article went on to say that Toshiba has never mass-produced a chip using 0.18 micron technology. Well, guess what? IBM already makes 0.18 micron chips at its Burlington, Vermont manufacturing facility. That's where the Gecko processor will be manufactured, and the Gecko processor will be 0.18 micron technology, using IBM's industry-leading copper chip technology. As I said before, it will be the fastest and most powerful CPU in any home video game system, period. Needless to say, Nintendo is very pleased with its strategic alliance with IBM. Our engineers have been, for some time now, working closely on the Gecko processor with a team of engineers from IBM Microelectronics. IBM Microelectronics is headed up by Dr. John Kelly. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kelly to you and ask him to say a few words about the new IBM-Nintendo relationship. Dr. Kelly.
It's great to hear IBM's chip technology get such glowing praise. But working with Nintendo is a terrific opportunity for IBM. How recall IBM chip technology state-of-the-art? Well, so is his game system. We're not simply making a chip for Nintendo. We're part of a very sophisticated design process. In fact, this system design rivals that of sophisticated computers in terms of many functions and performance, which is where IBM's customized PowerPC Gecko processor comes in. As Howard highlighted, the CPU we're providing will run at a blazing 400 megahertz over copper lines as fine as 0.18 microns, or 1/500th the width of a human hair. This is truly cutting-edge technology, and I can't wait to see our chips in Nintendo's games. I think today's announcement is a great example of exactly the type of customer relationship IBM wants to foster. Working together with our customers to enable products that are truly state-of-the-art. IBM is in a great position to build these kinds of relationships. We're masters of complex system design. After all, we build the largest, most complex computers in the world using the best technologies. But today, we're much more than a computer company. We're bringing systems expertise and leadership technology into more and more different kinds of products, like Nintendo's game system, Dolphin. So game fans, get ready, because with Dolphin, I think you're going to find you're up against an unusually tenacious competitor. Because remember, IBM designed and built the world-renowned chess champion supercomputer, Deep Blue. IBM has a name for the rise of the number of intelligent devices that we're all using in our day-to-day life, our work, and in games. We call it pervasive computing. And IBM is committed to making our systems expertise and technologies available to next-generation pervasive computing products. Our teamwork with Nintendo is a perfect example of the customer relationships IBM wants, and I know our results are going to be spectacular. Thank you. Howard? Thank you very much, John. Well, as all of you here know, the world's most powerful CPU and the world's best graphic chip have to play games on some software medium. And this time around, that software medium is not going to be ROM cartridges. Dolphin's software medium will not only be one that will be very inexpensive and quick to manufacture, it will also be one that is counterfeit-proof. Earlier today in Tokyo, Mr. Yamauchi, Nintendo's president, and Mr. Morishita, the president of Matsushita, held a joint press conference to announce another strategic alliance. As many of you know, Matsushita is the largest consumer electronics company in the world. It's best known outside of Japan for products marketed under the Panasonic brand. Here's what Mr. Morishita and Mr. Yamauchi announced. First, Matsushita will develop, manufacture, and supply to Nintendo a DVD disk drive for incorporation into the Dolphin hardware unit. The software medium for Dolphin will be DVD, and this DVD software will be manufactured by Matsushita and supplied to Nintendo. Second, Dolphin's technology will be integrated into various Matsushita or Panasonic branded DVD consumer electronic products, enabling consumers to play movies and music, as well as Dolphin games published by Nintendo and Nintendo's third-party publishers. Third, the Matsushita-Nintendo strategic alliance will enable the two companies to explore various ways of extending Nintendo's Dolphin technology and Matsushita's DVD technology to other products. I mentioned before that Dolphin software would be competitively priced at retail. Let me assure you that this is a critical objective for Nintendo, as is the need for flexible and quick manufacturing turnaround of Dolphin software, and of course, strong and effective counterfeit protection. All of these objectives, all of them, will be achieved under the Nintendo-Matsushita alliance. Joining us today from Princeton, New Jersey, is Dr. Paul Liao, the Chief Technology Officer and Vice President of Matsushita Electric Corporation of America. Dr. Liao is also President of Panasonic Technologies, Inc. and the Head of R&D for Matsushita in North America. Dr. Liao is also sitting in the front row, and I'd like to ask him to stand and be recognized. Thank you, Paul.
In a nutshell, Dolphin hardware and software will be fast, powerful, and inexpensive. And need I say that it will also feature world-class video games from people like Mr. Miyamoto and Stamper Brothers. Is there any question about Nintendo's proven track record of mega-hit video games spanning the last 15 years? I certainly don't think so. Well, there you have it. We've lifted the curtain a little on Dolphin, but we are not going to lift it all the way. We're going to continue to be very, very circumspect in revealing all of Dolphin's specs for a very simple reason. There are more technological surprises to come, and we'd like to keep them just that, surprises for you and especially for our competitors. But as I stand here this afternoon, I think Nintendo is very well positioned to take on Sony and Sega. And with partners like Artex, IBM, and Matsushita, I'm quite confident we'll do very well in that coming battle. In fact, we can hardly wait. Thank you all, and now here's Pete.
Great news, and well, new hardware is always exciting. As you all know, it's always the games that ultimately will spell a success. And we are, as a corporation, the #1 publisher on the 16-bit platform. We happen to be the #1 publisher with our partners, the handheld platform, and indeed we're the #1 publisher in the 32 64-bit category. And we've never been more intent than we are today in expanding our development leadership on all of those platforms, in addition to embracing the new product that Howard's just talked about. Some of the recent examples you just heard a week ago of our new 13-game agreement with Disney, which will give us the first fully three-dimensional Mickey. It'll give us and the world the first fully three-dimensional Mickey ever licensed, and it's under development by Rare. It's going to be further development on Game Boy Color, N64, and probably on Dolphin. Our intent in growing in the area of sports, an area that Nintendo was never known for, has been seen with products not only like Griffey and Kobe, but I'm just so delighted that tomorrow evening, when the Academy for the Interactive Arts and Sciences gathers, and the games nominated for Sports Game of the Year, there happen to be 5 nominees, and guess what? 4 of them are on N64. And finally, we've continued to invest in other areas to ensure that we bring the absolute best in content. Working with Rare, people like Retro, Left Field, and of course the group that are well underway now up in Redmond called NSTC, the Nintendo Software Technology Group. But as exciting as any new system can be, again, the emphasis has got to continue to be on the quality of the product that plays on it. We think we have that quality again this year. It's why we're so optimistic about growing our business by 20% versus an industry that will grow by 12%. It's why we'll sell some 36 million N64 software titles and over 18 million Game Boy against hardware sales of 5 million for N64 and 6 for Game Boy. And it's why we again, at the end of this year, will move back from a share last year of 46.1, according to NPD, to a share between 51 and 52% of this industry. We're excited. I think we have good reason for that optimism. We know you'll share that when you get your hands on the games tomorrow. And that wraps up the formal presentation. I'll now bring Dr. Kelly and Howard back and entertain your questions. Thank you. If you'd like to come forward to one of the mics, we'd be happy to take your questions. Story. It doesn't look like there are a lot of questions here, so one coming up.
How much RAM will be involved in the new Dolphin console? Did you ask them yet?
I think the question was how much what?
How much RAM will be involved in the new Dolphin console?
The specifications that we are prepared to reveal regarding Dolphin are in the lobby when you leave. We're not providing that information. And as I indicated in my remarks, we're not doing that to either tease or annoy you. We're doing it for competitive reasons. We are going to continue to be very circumspect. We simply are not going to reveal the additional technological surprises that we have in store. So I cannot give you that information.
Do you have some ambition to make this into an entertainment set-top box or an internet set-top box for the living room as opposed to just games? And also, do you have OS?
I want to see Sega. I think we're gonna have Sorry. I don't think we don't have to.